I'll be like this. Here you go, Jackie.
Thank
Here
you.
you go. You can
Testing,
listen.
1, 2.
Here
Testing.
you go.
Y'all are dumb.
Yeah. Matt's got lots of opinions about everything. I loved his feedback that he gave too.
Oh, what was his feedback?
Wow. I need to breathe more when I talk. I'm breathing while I talk.
I think the girls used to accuse him of being a mouth breather.
Are the microphones plugged in?
You had a breath there?
I don't even know if they're American.
What's
All right, everybody wants. All one big drink. Ready? Cheers.
Cheers. I told you they're not American.
Good dog.
You just got to keep living.
L-I-V-I-N.
You can kick rocks if you don't like how I talk. I'm gonna keep on talking and walk my walk. Ain't changing my tone, ain't changing my song. I was born this way, been loud too long.
Let's do
Let's do it.
Red River Live. All right, let's talk to old Tim Boren.
Hello.
Hey, Tim, how's it going?
It is going good, my friend. How are you doing?
I'm doing awesome, man. It's so good to hear your voice. Long time since we've had a conversation.
Hi, Tim.
It has. Hi.
So I got Michael Nell, Brianna Nell, and my wife, Jackie. And I know you've probably met Michael. I don't know if you've ever met Brianna or Jackie. I know you haven't met Jackie.
I don't think I've met any of them. I think Michael got there after I left.
We did, yes.
Yeah, I think we messaged each other once or twice back maybe during the
But
mayor thing.
I did watch y'all's podcast, so I kind of know you guys now.
Hey.
We can't wait to meet you in person.
Yes.
I will tell you this: had you guys been there when I was there, we would have gotten along great.
Any plans? Any plans for coming back?
No, not really.
Okay.
But I
For
can.
vacation?
Yeah,
to
come back and
visit?
vacation.
Well, for vacation, we still got people we dearly love up there. So my problem is, it's just such a long way. Our daughter used to live in Boise, Idaho, so we would go see her and go through Red River and see people. But now we're going to have to make a trip just to go to Red River to get there. But we'll do it sometime.
Why don't we start with your story of coming to Red River, how you ended up here as the Marshal, when you started as Red River Marshal, and when your tenure ended. I know you, just from a personal standpoint, one of the most beloved marshals that Red River has ever had. So,
oh wow, thanks
we've
for
heard
saying
great
that.
things about
That's kind of humbling, but yeah, it was a fun ride. It became super challenging, but I had retired from Irving PD in Texas after 28 years, and it was a weird circumstance, a long story I won't go into, but I ended up taking a deputy position up there that I didn't really plan on, but our youngest daughter was graduating from high school, and we thought, if we're going to do something crazy, this is the time to do it. So, and my wife was a full-time teacher, so she kind of gave up a lot. She gave up her seniority and everything to come out there. But we thought, let's do it. We'd been going to Red River probably about 10, 12 years, taking the kids skiing and everything, and we loved it. And we always said, I wonder what it'd be like to live up there. So, boy, we found out. And, it was kind of presented as a Mayberry. And it looks that way when you're a tourist, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, everything's kind of perfect. And I found out, the main job of working for that town is to keep that facade up. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but it's a tourist town. You want people to think it's a Mayberry, and at the same time, you got to handle a lot of problems, man. There's a lot up there. Red River is a lot.
Yeah.
as you guys know, my plan was to go up there and do police work kind of the way I wanted to. My belief is that mountain towns and beach towns, 90% of the people that go there, especially young people, they're all running from something. The mountains and the beaches are a little more forgiving to people on the fringe. So I was trying to really reach out to them and get some trust with law enforcement with them. I had a blast doing it. I really did.
I would say that you did a really good job with that because it definitely carried on after you.
Well, that's very kind of you to say. And it wasn't all me. I mean, it was a group effort with a lot of people. And then when Steve and Annette came in, they just embraced that, and they were so good at it. I know that that town really loved them too.
We love them.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Some of the best. Honestly, that consecutive group between you, Steve, and Annette, and then when JJ came in, there was a lot of love from the community for all of you guys. And you were here during the height of COVID too. So, you know, I know there's so much appreciation in this town for the way you handled COVID, the way that you protected our businesses and stood up for our businesses when really the town wasn't at the time. And it was kind of an embroiled battle, and you went to bat for us, and there is so much love for you as a result of that.
Well, I appreciate it. And honestly, when we got there, I was there a year and a half as a deputy before I took the marshal position and took the big pay cut to be marshal. But it takes its toll on you for a while when you start wondering how you're going to pay bills. To me, within 2 weeks, it seemed obvious what COVID was all about. It was a total scam. And after 2 weeks, I decided, you know what? My job is not to be up here protecting people from the flu. My job is to protect people's rights, because I saw what they were doing. I had developed some relationships, some super important relationships that I didn't know how important they would be with the state police. And during COVID, that saved Red River. And nobody really knows that. Along with a few deputies from Taos County, there weren't a lot, but there were a few that were sending me information.
Wow.
What the state was doing, what the county was doing. And let me tell you, it was alarming what they had planned and the stuff that they were wanting to do to business owners. It was scary. And I thought, you know what? This is what I'm here for. I'm going all in, and we're going to at least protect this town as best we can. The guys working with me in the marshal's office were all on board with it. And, you know, at the end of the day, we had some failures and we might have made some mistakes. But I think overall, we did the best we could to protect you guys, because that's what it's all about.
For sure. I mean, you guys did an immaculate job. I know you're being contrite when you say you made mistakes. There are very, very few mistakes that I'm aware of or anyone could point to, because you guys did such an incredible job for us, and we appreciate it, man. Your service.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. I look back and I thought, man, maybe there were more times I should have been more aggressive with the pushback, and maybe there were more times I should have been softer. But you know, you do the best you can in the minute and in the day that you're doing it. And bottom line is, I worked for you guys when I was out there. And that was my oath. And the thing that frustrated me, Matt, is everybody in a position of power there, whether it was limited or broader, whether you're a politician, whether you're law enforcement, we all took the exact same oath. And the oath is not complicated at all. It's very simple. And when you see the majority of people start violating their oath, it's very frustrating.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, that's kind of how this podcast started is, you know, I've already shared a story that involved you. And I don't know if you saw that episode where
I did the old, the pergola.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. I forgot about it till I heard it on your podcast.
Yeah.
And that may have been one of those times where I made the mistake of not being aggressive enough in your defense. But, you know, looking back on it, I think, man, how could I have handled that better? Because, you know, in my heart and inside, you could probably see it on my face when I was out there talking to you.
Sure.
Is this is ridiculous. But at the same time, part of my oath is to uphold laws in Red River.
Sure.
And technically, you know, even though like code enforcement and stuff isn't my gig, they were probably being personally aggressive. And I don't remember all the details, but I'm sure, knowing myself, I had a conversation with that person saying, hey, is this really something we need to be spending our energy toward? And then I heard you said there were criminal charges that came out of that.
Yeah, the state eventually filed criminal charges for building without a permit. And, you know, my contention with the whole thing was, one, why didn't we just have a conversation? Why did it start with a legal process sending you? You know, I'd been building on that pergola for over a month, and the first act of recourse in this situation was to send the marshal's office to cease and desist, to stop what I was doing, rather than a personal phone call. I mean, it could have been as simple as a phone call. I don't fault you at all, Tim. And I know I told you at the time, I know you're doing your job, and I respect the heck out of you guys and what you're required to do.
Yeah, that's one of those deals where, you know, man, I'm just sorry that happened to you. And the whole COVID businesses being shut down, you know, we used to have a department head meeting. I think it was like every Monday morning. And, you know, if Linda was sitting here in the room with you, she would verify. I would say this to her at every meeting in front of everybody. I said, are you ready to fight back yet? Because I'm ready to go, but I can't do it without your blessing and support. But these businesses need to be open. The churches need to be open. Of course, the restaurants had, you know, the health department would come and make stuff up.
Sure.
And try to shut you down outside the scope of COVID if they needed to.
Mm-hmm.
I got a hold of the health department and met with them before they walked into any businesses. And I told them, you know, if they ask you to leave, you will leave, or I'll arrest you for criminal trespass. And I said, these are their businesses, and you will be polite. You will do what they ask you to do. And if they ask you to leave, you're going to leave. And I think they did that for the most part, but they weren't happy about it.
Do you remember what was Linda's response to like fighting back?
You can probably imagine. There was a little bit of lip service, but there was like, oh, you don't understand. I believe that the town was afraid they would, you know, lose state funding for not going with the governor's bidding. And New Mexico is all about political favors, and, you know, I'll do this for you if you do this for me.
Yes.
And it's not just Red River, that's the whole state. Red River was afraid of that. And I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, if everybody got on the same page and would open back up, there was nothing they could do about it.
Right.
But they wouldn't do it.
We knew that, you know, and that was why so many businesses rallied around it. You know, voices like your own. You started putting out videos and saying what you would and wouldn't do. And, you know, the businesses and the business owners just needed that. We needed it so much because nobody, I mean, obviously there was a lack of certainty about what was going to happen, but, you know, everybody was afraid, but everybody was fighting for their lives. And it just felt so good to have you in the position that you were in. And I really do believe it was just divine that you were there and you were protecting and standing up for our businesses. I know there's a lot that we don't know. I know you did a lot behind the scenes that none of us really know what you did for us. And I just want to say thank you. I want to say thank you.
I appreciate it. But at the same time, there was a lot that you were doing behind the scenes. and that, the Swiggerts were doing. And it just went on and on.
Well, we appreciate you. Just to shift gears a little bit, one of the reasons
Sure.
that we're interviewing you in this process is because we've had a lot of people reach out to us and comment about why there is so much volatility within the Marshal's department and so much change that constantly occurs with marshals and deputies coming in and out all the time, and there's never any stability in that particular office.
Hey, I'm not even in law enforcement anymore, and I'm not in government. I don't have to answer to anybody, which is a really good thing.
Sure.
And also, I didn't have to have that job when I was out there.
Right.
And that really played into my benefit. Pardon my language. I just didn't give a rat's ass about a lot of things that was coming from the state or even the town at times. I just didn't care. I was like, yeah, I don't need this job. And I meant it.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, number one, your primary base of recruitment is Texas law enforcement, because New Mexico, and I don't know if they've changed it since, but it used to be you could not hire anybody retired out of PARA, the state retirement, to go back into law enforcement. It was against the law. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So your base of recruitment was Texas. Well, I had a ton of relationship with retired Texas law enforcement, but and I had a lot of them up there come and visit to look at it. And then it would come down to, yeah, this is really pretty up here and it's really cool, but where do you live? And how much do they pay? And I would tell them, and they go, yeah, sorry, Tim, we love you, but not doing that. So really good guys that would have been a good fit up there, but there's nowhere to live. And I mean, honestly, you can make more money mowing lawns than you can in law enforcement up there. Yeah, I'm getting a retirement, but I'm giving 8% of that to New Mexico every year in state taxes. And Red River's not paying me hardly anything to be here. So, at the end of the day, you're just not making any money up there at all. I don't want this to be a bash Linda thing. But bottom line is, Linda, it wasn't a big secret. She just didn't care for law enforcement. She doesn't like law enforcement.
There still seems to be something to that.
Yeah, and there's a backstory to it that I don't need to go into, but she's just not a fan of law enforcement. And she would rather us drive around in white ice cream trucks, and just not do anything. To give it some balance, I'll give Linda this. She had an open door policy with me, and she always listened to me when I went in there. I walk into her office anytime, and she would listen to me, and sometimes she would even take my recommendations. But I always felt like it had to benefit her politically before she would consider it, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
With the COVID thing, nobody was listening. And I was the only one that, in the department head meetings that I felt like was even wanting to push back, that nobody else was on board with doing anything.
Right.
They just wanted to keep it status quo.
You mentioned the story about the Marshall's trucks, and now I'm curious.
Okay, so this is the funny one. So, those, when I got there were all these white pickups, right?
Sure.
And they had this, not a slam against the guy that originally made the logo, but it looked like a cartoon on the police trucks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they were all white trucks. And I thought, and at the time we had just had that safe burglar hitting town and all over the county, if you remember that.
Yep.
And you couldn't catch anybody in a white truck at night. And so we were out all night, every night, looking for this safe burglar. And I thought, well, this is just dumb. We've got these big cartoon reflecting things on the trucks. They don't look professional. And I ordered a new truck because I was always under budget, and I got a truck pretty much for free. And I ordered it. It was dark gray. And I don't know if you remember it, but it just had kind of a glow in the dark. When you see it from the side, you could see Marshall on the side of it. And it had a real low profile light bar and everything. And somebody really hated that truck. They hated the fact that it wasn't white. And I said, well, why does it have to be white? We need something that's low profile so that we can kind of sneak around at night and not be seen, so we can catch these guys. And it was met with harsh disapproval, but I did it anyway because, like I said, I just didn't really care. I needed to do what was good for the town and what was good for our work. But it was a perspective that this truck looked mean for some reason. And it wasn't appreciated. And I think as soon as I left, it was kind of done away with. But I wanted to get the whole fleet of them, in a darker color, so we could actually do our work the right way.
And that's the reason that our fleet is white now, is because the darker vehicles just look too scary for tourists.
Yeah. Well,
I don't understand that, because like even we hear this pattern too of Linda didn't want our officers to write tickets because we don't want to make it's a tourist town. And while that's, we can understand that and not the revenue and all of that, and we don't want to become someone who's about the revenue, it does become an issue when no one is held accountable for anything in our town.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. And I was even asked one time, if you're going to pull them over, can you pull them over on a back street where people don't see the light bar?
It's strange to me.
And my answer to that was no. You pull somebody over where you pull them over, and you can't direct people onto back streets. Wow.
Yeah.
But those are just some of the things that we were dealing with on a daily basis.
I don't want to take up all of your entire day. What is it that you're not saying, or what is it that you haven't said that you want to say?
Well, I will say this about the town. There's some really good people that work for that town. Red River's got some other things that I'm not going to say on your podcast, just as far as the town and some of the issues with off season and things like that go on up there. But they're tough. I mean, there's some tough situations up there that you have to deal with, that we try to keep low profile, just because it's embarrassing to a lot of people. You don't want to, hurt anybody in the process, but you got to handle a lot of stuff up there that even I didn't know coming up from Texas I would be dealing with. So there was a lot of good things to say about that town. I think some new leadership in that town would be so beneficial. That town could just explode, I think. I could probably leave it at that. If I don't, I'll just be getting in the weeds, and you don't want that. And everybody knows the conflicts of interest that are present. Everybody knows it. I'm just like, why are people still voting for this? I don't even want to say the fraud word, but in New Mexico, it is just endemic. Nothing would surprise me coming out of Santa Fe to keep certain people in power.
Well, I think one of the things that's really necessary, and one of the reasons I wanted to have you on, is because I think people need to hear the truth to help them change their minds. And it does help to hear not just the fraud, but just the issues that take place at the municipal level with the leadership and with the struggles of why it's hard to retain people. If they don't hear it, if they don't hear the truth, nothing's ever going to change.
Well, and I agree with you. And I think looking back on my time there, if I look back at COVID, it exposed a lot of people to where their values really are. And if you go back, and we should never forget what happened during COVID. If we do, it's a huge mistake. If you go back and you look at the way people reacted to it, some surprised me one way or the other, you know. But if you go back and look at what happened politically, what happened to everything else, if you remember that, you should vote accordingly. And that will solve your problems.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more.
But I'll tell you this, I will look forward to coming back up there sometime. And if I do, I'm gonna find you and we'll have a sit down. And anytime you want to talk to me off the record, I can fill in some blanks for you. My main motivation for withholding anything is I don't want to put anybody that may still be there that is really trying to do the right thing. I don't want to put them in jeopardy. You know what I mean? Because here I am in Texas. I don't have a care in the world about it anymore. But a lot of people, you know, their finances and families are relying on them.
I completely respect that. I absolutely respect that. And thank you for, I mean, that is a display of character. It really is. And it's hard to, you know, it's hard to muzzle yourself when you know as much as you do. But
It is. And if you didn't notice, I like to run off at the mouth a little bit. So
You can kick rocks if you don't like how I talk. I'm gonna keep on talking and walk my walk. Ain't changing my tone, ain't changing my song. I was born this way, been loud too long.